Have you ever wondered how network scheduling has evolved since the 1950s? The concept of network scheduling has been around for more than 70 years, and it's fascinating to see how it's changed over time. Originally designed to streamline project management, network scheduling has become a pivotal tool in industries worldwide, particularly construction. In the heart of network scheduling, we find a variety of models, each with their unique characteristics and applications. Over the years, three models have risen to prominence in the construction industry: the activity on node, or AON, the precedence diagramming method, better known as PDM, and the activity on arrow, simply referred to as AOA. Each of these models brings a different perspective to project management, offering unique insights and solutions to complex scheduling challenges. They are the building blocks of modern network scheduling, the foundation upon which successful project management is built. So, ready to delve deeper into these models? Let's jump right in. First up, we have the activity on node, or AON model. This model, popular in the construction industry, is a method of visually representing the sequence, dependencies, and timeline of activities in a project. Imagine a web of nodes, each node representing an activity. The arrows, they're not just for show. They symbolize the relationships between these activities. In the AON model, activities are placed on nodes and the dependencies are represented by arrows linking these nodes. The flow of this model is always forward from left to right, mirroring the chronological progression of a project. Let's delve deeper. The AON model is advantageous for its flexibility. It allows for multiple dependencies, meaning an activity can have more than one preceding activity and more than one following activity. This reflects the complex, interdependent nature of tasks in a project. Plus, the model's visual nature makes it easy to understand the sequence of activities at a glance. Another advantage of the AON model is its suitability for computer-based scheduling. Its mathematical basis makes it compatible with scheduling software, which can automatically update the schedule when changes occur. This makes managing complex projects more efficient and less prone to human error. But, as with everything, there are potential downsides. The AON model can become overly complex for large projects with numerous activities and dependencies. The web of nodes and arrows can become challenging to interpret and manage. Plus, while the model is great for showing dependencies, it doesn't naturally display time, making it less intuitive for understanding project duration. And remember, the AON model is not a standalone tool. It works best when complemented with other project management techniques, such as the critical path method, which helps identify the most important tasks in a project. While AON brings a heap of benefits, it's not the only player in the game. Let's explore another model. Next on our list is the precedence diagramming method, commonly known as the PDM. This model is a favorite among many professionals, and for good reason. It's like the Swiss Army knife of project management tools. But what exactly is it? Well, the PDM is a method of constructing a project schedule network diagram that uses nodes to represent activities and arrows to represent the dependencies between them. It's a bit like a roadmap, guiding your project from start to finish. So, how does it work? The PDM uses 4 types of logical relationships or dependencies: finish to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. These 4 types allow for a more flexible and realistic representation of the sequence of activities. For instance, in a finish-to-start relationship, an activity must be completed before the next one can begin. On the other hand, a start-to-start relationship means that the start of one activity depends on the start of another. Now, on to the advantages. First, the PDM allows for lead and lag time between activities. This means you can adjust the start or finish time of an activity without affecting the project's overall timeline. Second, it's highly visual and easy to understand, making it a great tool for communicating the project schedule to stakeholders. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are potential downsides to using the PDM. For one, it can become complex and difficult to manage for larger projects. Also, while it's great for visualizing and managing dependencies, it doesn't provide a clear picture of resource allocation. But despite these potential drawbacks, the PDM remains a popular choice for many project managers. It's flexible, visual, and allows for a high degree of control over the project schedule. PDM certainly has its place, but there's one more model to consider. Let's move on to the last one. Last but not least, we'll tackle the activity on arrow model, also known as AOA. This network scheduling model hails from the early days of network scheduling, and it's still in use today, particularly in the construction industry. The AOA model is unique in its structure, featuring activities represented by arrows on a diagram, hence its name. Each arrow signifies a specific task or activity in a project. The tail of the arrow indicates the start of the task, while the head points towards the finish. Nodes, represented by circles or rectangles, are used as junction points between these arrows, indicating the sequence of activities. The beauty of the AOA model lies in its simplicity. It's easy to understand and provides a clear visual representation of a project's workflow. This model is particularly handy when dealing with projects that have well-defined tasks with a clear start and finish. When it comes to the advantages of the AOA model, it's all about clarity. The model's visual nature allows for easy identification of critical paths, the sequence of tasks that determine the shortest time in which a project can be completed. This makes it a valuable tool for project managers who need to keep their projects on track and within schedule. However, the AOA model isn't without its drawbacks. One of the main disadvantages is its inability to handle complex dependencies between tasks. In real-world projects, tasks often depend on each other in intricate ways, which the AOA model struggles to represent accurately. Furthermore, the AOA model requires dummy activities to represent certain dependencies, which can complicate the diagram and make it harder to interpret. These dummy activities are represented by dotted arrows and do not consume any resources or time, but are necessary to maintain the logical sequence of the project. Despite these drawbacks, the AOA model remains a stalwart in the world of network scheduling, providing a visual and straightforward way to plan, monitor, and control projects. With AOA, we've covered all three main models, but how do they stack up against each other? Now we've learned about AON, PDM, and AOA individually, but how do they compare? Let's start by comparing AON and PDM. Both models are event-oriented, meaning they focus on the completion of tasks. However, while AON uses nodes to represent activities and arrows to show dependencies, PDM uses nodes for both activities and dependencies. This means that PDM can represent more complex relationships between tasks, such as start-to-start or finish-to-finish dependencies. So, if your project involves tasks with complex interdependencies, PDM might be a better fit. On the other hand, AOA is fundamentally different. It's an activity-oriented model, where arrows represent activities and nodes represent events or milestones. This makes AOA a bit more intuitive and easier to understand at a glance. But it also means that AOA can't represent as many types of dependencies as AON or PDM can. So if you're working on a project with straightforward dependencies and want something easy to understand, AOA might be the way to go. Now let's look at some of the practical implications of these differences. In general, AON and PDM are more flexible and can handle more complex projects. They're also more compatible with modern project management software, which tends to be based on the AON model. So if you're working on a large, complex project and using project management software, you might find AON or PDM more suitable. AOA, on the other hand, is simpler and more visual. It's great for small projects or for explaining the project schedule to stakeholders who might not be familiar with project management terminology, and while it's not as compatible with software, it's still a solid choice for manual planning or for teaching the basics of network scheduling. So each model has its strengths and fits different scenarios. But what's the takeaway? Well, the best model for you depends on your specific needs and circumstances. Consider the complexity of your project, the software you're using, and who will be looking at your schedule. And remember, the best tool is the one that helps you complete your project successfully. We've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the activity on node model, where each activity is represented by a node, and the arrows show the relationships between them. This model is highly visual and useful for complex projects. Next, we tackled the precedence diagramming method, which allows for more flexibility in sequencing activities, as it can accommodate 4 types of dependencies. It's a modern and versatile approach, often preferred in today's dynamic construction industry. Then, we dove into the activity on arrow model, a classic that takes us back to the roots of network scheduling. Each arrow represents an activity, and nodes are the starting or ending points. It's simple, but can be tricky when dealing with multiple dependencies. Remember, each model has its strengths and potential pitfalls. Choosing the right one depends on your project's complexity, your team's expertise, and the specific circumstances. Thanks for joining us on this journey through network scheduling models. Until next time, keep building.